It was just past midnight on Route 47, a stretch of highway locals called Hollow Highway. Fog hugged the asphalt, and the only sound was the hum of tires on the wet road. Damian Blake was driving home from a late shift at the diner. He was tired, eyes heavy, but the road ahead was empty and straight. That's when he saw her, a girl standing at the side of the road, thumb out, her white dress glowing faintly in the fog. She looked wrong. Her hair was long and tangled, and her eyes reflected the headlights like dark mirrors. But there was something in her posture that froze him. She wasn't just waiting for a ride. She was watching him. Against his better judgment, Damian slowed. "Need a ride?" he called. The girl nodded silently and climbed in, her movements unnaturally smooth. The moment the door closed, the temperature in the car dropped, and the engine seemed to growl. Where are you headed?" Damian asked, trying to keep his voice steady. She didn't answer. Instead, she pointed ahead, down the twisting stretch of highway. The further Damian drove, the stranger things became. The road seemed to stretch unnaturally, the fog thickening until he could barely see 10 feet ahead. Trees appeared along the edges, gnarled and skeletal, reaching toward the car as if they wanted to drag it off the asphalt. Damian glanced at the passenger seat. She was still silent, her head tilted unnaturally, her eyes fixed on him. Then he saw it. Her face was pale, almost translucent, and her mouth stretched impossibly wide in a frozen grin. He slammed on the brakes, but the car didn't respond. The fog seemed to press in, swallowing the headlights. The radio flickered to life, static screeching, then a voice whispering, "Turn, or stay forever." Panic surged. Damian tried the doors locked. The girl's grin widened. She whispered, "Don't look back." Damian's hands shook as he gripped the wheel. He couldn't stop, couldn't escape. The trees bent closer. Shapes moved in the fog faces, twisted and silent, pressed against the darkness. He looked in the rearview mirror. At first, there was nothing. Then, reflected in the foggy glass, dozens of faces stared at him from the road behind, pale, hollow-eyed, screaming silently. The girl leaned close, her breath icy. "Soon it will be you." Suddenly, the road ended. Damian's car skidded to a halt in a clearing. The headlights illuminated a tangle of twisted trees, roots writhing like snakes. He turned to speak, but the girl had vanished. From the darkness, the whisper came again. "Hollow Highway collects its travelers." Damian ran, but no matter how far he went, the fog followed. The shapes of people appeared and disappeared, all pointing, all silent. When the first cars drove past the next morning, they saw a car abandoned on the side of the road, its doors open, engine still running. Inside, there was no sign of Damian, only the rearview mirror, cracked, reflecting dozens of pale faces pressed against the fog, watching, waiting. Locals now say, if you drive Hollow Highway at night, you may see a girl in white asking for a ride. If you stop, you might never leave. Halloween night on Midnight Highway was notorious. Locals warned travelers never to drive it alone after dark. Some said the road shifted, trapping drivers in loops. Others claimed a monstrous truck roamed the fog, hunting anyone foolish enough to be out at night. Grayson Cole didn't believe in ghost stories. A skeptic at heart, he had been visiting a friend in a neighboring town and was driving home through the rain-soaked highway. The wipers struggled against the downpour, and the dark road ahead seemed endless. Then he noticed it, a massive 18-wheeler behind him. Its headlights blazed like twin moons cutting through the fog, but the cab was empty, or so it seemed. Grayson's pulse raced as he tried to speed past it, but the truck matched his every move. Left lane, it shifted left. Right lane, it followed. He pressed the gas, heart hammering, but the engine growl from behind was louder than his own. The rain intensified. Fog rolled in from the woods, thickening until the road seemed to vanish. Then came a voice not from the truck, but from the radio. "You can't leave. You belong to the highway now." Grayson slammed the brakes. The truck did not slow. His rearview mirror reflected something horrifying. Faces pressed against the windshield, pale and contorted, screaming silently. The road twisted unnaturally. Forests appeared closer than they should have, trees bending toward the car, reaching like skeletal hands. Grayson swerved to avoid a fallen branch, only to realize that branches appeared wherever he went, forming walls to trap him. The truck's horn blared not mechanical, but a deep, inhuman scream, vibrating through his bones. He saw movement in the fog, shadows shifting unnaturally, whispering voices weaving around him. Stay, stay, stay. Grayson's chest tightened. Panic surged. He tried to call for help, but his phone was dead. No signal, no escape. Suddenly, the headlights caught a figure in the middle of the road. A woman floating slightly above the asphalt, hair matted, dress shredded. Her face was pale and warped, black pits where her eyes should be. Grayson swerved violently. The truck followed, unyielding as if it were alive. He realized with terror, speed, turning, or stopping wouldn't save him. The highway itself was hunting him. Every time he glanced in the mirror, the truck appeared closer. The screaming faces grew sharper, clawing at the glass. The whispers in the fog became a chorus. Join us, join us. Grayson slammed on the brakes near a clearing, hoping to escape. The truck roared behind him and skidded forward, engine growling like it had teeth. Suddenly, it vanished, only to reappear directly in front of him, blocking the road completely. He threw open the door and ran into the woods. The fog swallowed him. Behind him, the faint glow of headlights pulsed closer. A clawed hand appeared from the mist, then another followed by dozens more, dragging him toward the highway. By morning, drivers saw an abandoned car on Midnight Highway. The engine was still running. The headlights illuminated the rearview mirror, reflecting dozens of pale faces pressed against the glass, staring silently. A note lay on the passenger seat, jagged letters burned into the fabric. You belong to the highway now. And from that night onward, anyone traveling Midnight Highway alone claims to see headlights in the fog, a monstrous truck tailing them relentlessly, waiting for its next victim.